Hello and welcome back to Creep Designs by Twitch. Why can't you be normal, you ask? Because I don't want to. Today, we are doing the $100 challenge hosted by Sabrina from Sab's Rehabs. Not entirely sure how long ago it was, but it was a fair while ago. The first challenge I ever partook in, first challenge I was ever in was the $100 challenge. And now we are back at it again, doing another one. Before I get too far ahead of myself, I'm going to go through the rules. I need my laptop because I can't remember a thing. First rule, $100 or less. So whilst we are in Australia, we're going to be basing it off $100 US, so I'll work out my pricing for the Aussie audience and then I'll convert it to US prices. So this includes the cost of your piece, your paint, your sandpaper, brushes, top coat, hand tools, tape. I'm going to be using tape in my piece, so I'll be including tape. For retailers or content creators or brand ambassadors, so I'm a brand ambassador for Carts Millie, so I get my products for free, but I will be including the full retail price in the price. So for anyone who's not in Australia who has to add tax on after the retail price, they will not be adding the tax onto their price for their final costs. Whereas here in Australia, our prices, our retail prices are tax inclusive, so our total costs unfortunately will include tax, so it's a little bit, I don't know, I'm going to call it a grey area. So our pricing will probably be a little bit higher because of our inclusive tax, but I'm not going through the hassle of working out the different tax and contacting different companies and finding out how much tax they add on. I just can't bother. So the reason the tax isn't being included is because everyone's sales taxes will be different. So because of that, obviously, like I said, the tax isn't being included. So the reason for this challenge is to show people that you don't have to spend a small fortune to flip a piece of furniture. So you can do this for a reasonable price. Like when I first started flipping furniture, I started doing it just as a hobby and I didn't have much at all. All of the stuff that you see here, all my tools, all my hand tools, products, everything that you see in my workshop, I've spent a lot of time building up. So I didn't just run out and buy all of this stuff on the first day. I started off with the bare minimum of what was needed. And all I've done now by having more stuff is it just means I've got more stuff to clean up when I'm done and clean around and try and keep organized. So at the end of the video, I'll be going through and listing everything that I've used to flip this piece of furniture. I'm going to be doing two separate lists because I'm going to do a list of the total price of the product used, like the item that I've purchased. So if I get a full bottle of paint and I only use a quarter of it, I'm going to do a list of the retail price of that product, and then a second list of with the cost of how much paint I've used out of that bottle, if that makes sense, because the rest of what's in that bottle will then go on to be used on other pieces. So I haven't used that entire bottle on this one piece, so it hasn't cost me that much just to do this one piece, if that makes sense. If you follow me. It don't make sense a lot of the time because I kind of just ramble on, and it's especially hard when I have to look at myself on the phone, and yeah, I get sidetracked a lot. Who's noticed? So there will be a winner for this challenge, and the winner will be determined by who spends the least on their on their project. But I don't really do this stuff to win anything. I do it because I enjoy doing it and I love being part of this community. and it's just fun. Like, I really love doing this. It's exciting. Yeah. All right. So I think that just about covers it. So I'm going to chuck some music on and get started. Oh, also, I painted my nails. I'm trying to be a little bit girly. I don't know if black is girly, but it's the colour I like. So, all right, let's get going. So here is the piece in question. So it looks like a pretty stock standard bedside table, but it is huge. Like, I don't really know how to show how huge it is. I think it's like 184 centimeters tall. But we're off to a good start because this piece was free. It was given to me by the lovely Angela, who also paid for this floor. So thanks, Angela. You've really helped me out here. So it's a nice solid set of drawers. It's on metal runners. But yeah, because of how tall it is, it's not really well suited to a standard height of bed, and I don't see it selling very well. So I'm actually going to do this up for my son's bedroom. His bed is up a little higher than a standard size bed because it's the top part of a bunk bed. So, and he doesn't have a bedside table, so I think it's about time I gave him one. Just like always, the first thing I'm going to do is remove anything that's not staying. If I'm not keeping it at all, it'll just go straight in the bin, or if I can reuse it on another piece later on down the track, I will keep it. Like these handles, they can easily be used on something else. Now, because I need to account for the cost of this Phillips head screwdriver, I went onto the Bunnings website and looked up screwdrivers to find the cheapest option, and you can get a basic set of mixed screwdrivers for $2.05, which I think is a bargain. So I use Carts Millie Clean Cut to clean all of my pieces. It is $9.95 for this tub, and this tub has lasted me like since I started working with Carts Millie products. I have not had to get another one since. Once I've cleaned everything with Clean Cut, I go over it with a clean damp rag to get rid of any residue that might be left behind. Just a friendly reminder to clean your runners. You'd be surprised how much gunk builds up on metal runners and stops them from moving smoothly. So the finish on this is quite thick and glossy, so I'm scuff sanding the entire piece using this 120 grit sanding disc. I get mine from Carts Millie and they cost 99 cents a disc. I'm only using the power sander on the top of it because it has a lot of dents and scratches and dings in it, and I want to try and get this top nice and smooth, but the rest of the dresser, like the sides and the drawer fronts, are okay, so I'll just scuff sand those by hand. Okay, so I'm going to be painting this whole piece, but I'm going to do something different on the sides. But all of this and these parts here and the top and everything, that will get painted one solid colour. But I don't want to make a complete mess here and up here and down the sides here, because that'll, you know, it might affect what I do on the sides. So I'm just going to use some tape to tape it up a bit real quick, just so that my paintwork is a little bit tidier, because I'm not exactly, you know, clean and tidy with my painting. This is Sleek tape from Sleek Brushes Australia. This is the 24mm roll, and it is, you know, it is $3.59. That is in Australian dollars, of course. I'm using Carts Millie Suffuse paint in the colour Suede. It looks a lot brighter on camera, but it is very much like a denim blue colour. So this is a mineral and clay hybrid paint. It is $26.95 for a, there it is, 250ml bottle. Suffuse paint does cost a little bit more than the Carts Millie mineral paint, but this stuff goes a long way, and the coverage is absolutely mind-blowing. So I probably won't even use this whole bottle, and it's like a small bottle, like it easily fits in my hand like this. You can see how small it is, but anyway, yeah. And I'm going to be using a 38mm sleek brush to do my painting. Ta-da. I forgot to add, this brush costs $7.99 Australian dollars. So the first thing I do when I have a piece like this with feet is, if I can, I flip it onto its back. I have the bottom of it hanging over the edge of the table so that I can easily paint the underside and the feet. It makes a lot more sense than trying to do it with it standing up and struggling. As you can see, I am not overloading my brush. I'm doing nice thin coats like I always do, and still getting absolutely knockout coverage with this paint. As you can see, this paint isn't thick and goopy, and I'm not struggling to apply it at all. Even on this surface that in some parts is sanded down to raw wood, usually I'd be getting a lot of drag with other brands of paints, but this paint just glides on like silk and it's absolutely amazing.
This ought to be the right kind of place for a tough guy like you. Garbage cans, rats galore. Scram! I said take off! Beat it! Let's go!
Alright, now that we've got some sunlight on it, because it is morning, check out that coverage. That is one coat of Suffuse. Trying to make sure I get it from every angle so that you can see just how good the coverage is. And the drawer fronts, again, one coat. That is insane. So because this is a clay hybrid paint, it does have a rough finish on it and will need smooth sanding between coats. So I'm just using 400 grit sandpaper on the first coat, and then I'll apply my second coat, and after I do the second coat and once that's dry, I'm going to actually use the back of the piece of sandpaper, so literally just the paper or a brown paper bag, to get it smooth again, because that way I am less likely to break through the layers of paint and, you know, accidentally distress it. I don't want it distressed. Alright, so I've done 2 coats on that and the drawers, and I've hardly used any of my paint. You can't really see through the bottle because the paint is so highly pigmented, and it just won't slide off the inside of the bottle. But I had a look inside. Let's see if you can see. No, it's too dark. But the paint is about down to here, so I've used about a quarter of the bottle, like considering it wasn't right to the top, it was about there. So I've used about that much, which isn't much at all. So if I work it out to be about a quarter of the bottle, that works out to be about $6.50 Australian or $4.45 in US dollars. So I've got the rest of that bottle to use on something else. Not bad. So I'm using Carts Millie satin top coat, and it is $17.95 Australian dollars for the smallest bottle. And I'm using my Two Fussy Blokes roller. The most affordable substitute I could find was this $3.50 Unipro roller from Bunnings. As well as my Two Fussy Blokes smooth roller sleeve. A cheaper option is these roller sleeves that I got from Amazon a while back. They're a pack of 24 and they weren't discounted when I bought them, so if I divide $22.99 by 24, it works out to be 95 cents. So I like to do multiple thin coats of top coat. You only need the smallest amount on your roller and just make sure you're getting even coverage and get everywhere. Doing thin coats, you will end up with a much better finish and you won't end up with like an orange peel finish that tends to happen if you use too much top coat. The reason I am sealing the suffuse paint before I go doing anything else is because I need to tape off some of the sections for the next part. With the suffuse paint, you do need to seal it before you apply transfers to it or anything else like that. So with the sticky tape, with the painter's tape, I just want to take that precaution that I'm not going to end up accidentally peeling off the suffuse paint. It is more porous, so this is why you need to seal it before you go applying things to it. I applied 3 even coats before peeling off the tape. Now it's time for me to tape off the sides, and when I'm placing the tape down, I'm not putting it right on the edge of that paint line. I'm doing it back like a millimetre just to make sure that I have every bit of that wood covered. So now I'm using Carts Millie mineral paint in the colour Woolshed. And I brought myself some foil on the weekend, so there's that. Hopefully I don't lose it this time. Alright, so before I get too carried away, I've let this part dry and I'm going to do a scratch test. And I've actually got nails these days because I managed to let them dry. So, you know. It's like nails on a chalkboard. But anyway, good adhesion. As you can see here, I'm brushing this paint on every which way but loose. That is because it has self-leveling properties. With other paints I've used in the past, I've had to make sure that my brush strokes are finishing the same way, otherwise brush strokes end up all crazy and you have to sand in between coats because of, you know, brush strokes. But this stuff is just fantastic. This paint also has a built-in sealer with a matte finish, and considering it's not the suffuse paint, check out that coverage. It's not a white, it's like a soft grey colour, but still, for something so light, that coverage for a first coat is absolutely mental. So if you haven't guessed already, I'm going to be doing some stripes on the sides of this piece. I'm going for kind of a carnival finish or carnival look for this piece for him, just to make it kind of fun but without just throwing dinosaurs and stuff all over it. Okay, so I left the tape on the top and bottom, as you can see. Then what I do is just run a long piece of tape down the front side, I guess you'd call it, and then I use 3 smaller pieces to mark the space for the next piece, run that piece, a full-size piece down the length, and then move those 3 spaces along, and just keep doing that until I've covered the full piece, the full side. You get me. Whilst I have you all here, I just want to say a quick thank you to Jane and Tracy for both buying me coffees in the Buy Me a Coffee app, and of course a huge thank you to Angela for your contributions. It isn't necessary at all or expected for anyone to contribute to my work via the Buy Me a Coffee app or Amazon or in any other way, but it is absolutely 100% appreciated and does help me continue to do what I do. If you would like to contribute in any way, you can find the links for my Buy Me a Coffee app and my Amazon wish list in the description. Okay, so the other colour in these stripes is going to be Carts Millie mineral paint in the colour The Old Place. And it is $20.95 in Australian dollars. Okay, so whilst I only needed 2 coats of wool shed, I ended up needing to do 3 coats of The Old Place. The reason for that is wool shed is on a white base and The Old Place is considered a bright, so it is on a clear base. One of the benefits of working in my mother's shed, mixed berry crumble. Oh god, that was a bad idea. Those lines turned out so much better than I was expecting. There's a few little bleed through spots, but I think it'll be fine. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop for now because I've got to go get my son from school. Once everything was well and truly dry, I tidied up any edges and then went over it with a coat of clear coat. So these handles actually came off of a chest of drawers that I was given for free, but if you are looking to buy them, they were on Amazon, so I worked out the price based on this. And literally the only reason I chose these handles is because when my son saw them the first time, he absolutely loved them. And you know what? They work. So I didn't actually stage this piece properly because everyone was nagging at me to go home because it had been a long day, and it looked great just by itself like this, so I was more than happy with this, and it went straight into the back of our car to go home.
Yeah. Is it this?
Yes, it's that. Oh!
I'm a rich kid.
You are a rich kid. Do you like it?
Yep.
Alright, so he didn't sound very enthusiastic there, but I promise you he absolutely loves it and is over the moon with it. Now it's time to do the breakdown of all the pricing. I did put the pricing and total up as I was going throughout the video, just so that you could play along with me as I went. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I did, but here goes the list. Okay, so here is my list. Hopefully it is clear enough for you all and you can understand my dodgy writing. But I have listed all of the items over this side. They will also be listed in the description in the order that I use them. Over this side, I have got the items in Australian dollars, and I have converted them over to US dollars. Now, I converted these prices whilst I was working on it. The final prices are a little bit off because some of the prices I converted after I finished the piece. And in that time, the difference in US and Australian prices have altered very slightly. So there is a slight difference in prices by like a couple of cents. So I had a bit of trouble with that, working that out and trying to work out where I went wrong. I didn't actually go wrong anywhere. It's just a conversion issue. But for the sake of this video, we're going to be basing the final total off of the US dollar price, or the US dollars. So I came in under budget at $83.22. And that's basing it off of pricing of the full bottles. And over the other side, I've also done a third list also in US dollars. This list is basically the same as that list. It's just that on this list, I have only priced product used. So I only used about a quarter of the suffuse paint. So I've only added $4.45 for that. Same down here for Woolshed, I only used about a quarter of that bottle, so I put down $3.58. I used slightly more of the Old Place, the red, because I needed to do a few coats of it. So I accounted for $4.78 there. Along with a couple other things like clear coat, I only used a couple of dollars worth of that. The reason I did this list was so that I could work out how much it cost me to flip this piece, not including the entire product, because the rest of that product in the bottle will get used on other pieces, but how much it cost me to flip this piece. If I was to buy the products outright for the first time just to do this piece, it would have cost about this much. Keep in mind that going by the rules of the challenge, certain items like the roller frame and the roller sleeve, I was using good quality roller frame and roller sleeves, but I was allowed to swap those out for cheaper options. Same as the screwdrivers. And it was a massive help to this. I don't think I would have got it under budget if it wasn't for the fact that the drawers were free. So before I finish up, I just want to say a huge thank you to Sabrina from Sabs Rehabs for hosting this amazing challenge. It was great the first time around. It was even better this time around because I have a bit more experience this time and absolutely loved it. Good luck to everyone else in the challenge, and if you haven't watched all the others yet, go and hit up that playlist and watch everything because there will be some amazing work to see. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like and a comment, and don't forget that everything used in this video can be found in the description. And I think that just about covers it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.